Yeah, welcome back everyone. This is your boy You Take, and in today's video we'll continue from where we stopped the last time. The last time we talked about power amplifier, and today we'll be talking about audio mixer. Now this is a typical diagram of what a power amplifier looks like. And if you don't understand what it really means, check the description of this video because I've done something on this. I've explained everything you need to know. It has two channels. Some few products has three, but most of them are two channel one and two, A or B, depending on what the producer decides to use. So you definitely have your volume at the front, you have your power indicator, you have your switch button, and you have your plug to plug it and your input jack, and also the output part which will go directly to speaker. But today what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about what we call the mixer. Now when we talk about audio mixer, we have two types of mixer, so to say. The first one is digital, while the other one is analog. Analog, when we talk about analog, it means something you can do manually. Okay. Well, actually, the one that has been in existence for a very long time is the analog one, and that is what people are very familiar with. The digital one can be somehow complicated if you don't really know much. So, in the course of this training, what I will really cover is I will cover the analog one. Then, over time, I will go into the digital media. Okay, but for now, let's look at an analog speaker and sorry, mixer, and what does it really entail and what does it look like. Okay, now let's say this is our mixer. This one has just three channels. This one, two, three. Now, mind you, we have a lot of mixer. You see some that have 8 channel, 4 channel, 16 channel, 32 channel, and so much, and so many others like that. Okay, but to make this short, okay, let's just use 3 channel for now. It's not all about the channel. What really matters is the single channel. If you can use it effectively, then you can set the rest because it's just replication of each one, duplication of themselves. Okay, so now in every audio mixer, you always have some of these parameters. Mind you, the first one you may have something like I. You may have, it's not you may, you will have in mid. You will have stuff like low, you have stuff like auxiliary. You may see auxiliary one, auxiliary two, and some may have it up to four. You understand? Then you may see something like send, you may see something like RAV, reverse, you may see something like DLY, depending on how complicated that your mixer is. There are some that have a lot of function in them. Okay, so you may see something like this, and you may see some EFX. You will see it on some. Then you also see something like this, pan. Okay, and so many others like that. You see a lot of stuff on them. Okay, and also let me see. You will see another function like right. You see stuff like left. You may see another thing like input, input one, comma two, and so on and so forth. You see output. You will see auxiliary output, output. You may see return. You may see send. In fact, you will see a lot of things. Okay, and you may see something we call auxin. Okay, then there is a control for headphone. By the time we do the practical class, will look at everything together so you understand it better. Okay, so now let me explain each one of them. Okay, I will have to clean this upper part so that we have space to work. Okay, so now that we have space, now when we talk about mid now, from okay, let me illustrate this EQ now. Let's say this is our EQ. Let's say our EQ is something like this. You understand? Let's say this is what you set as an engineer. You set something like this. Okay. Let's say this is what you set. Let me make it more attractive. Okay. Now, if you check your equalizer, we'll still get into that, but I just want to use that to explain this. Okay. Now, when we talk about I, if you look at this, your part in your throat, throat rather, yes. If you look at this part now, if I'm talking normally, this my what is the name? My Adam mark, or what do you guys call it? Okay. If you look at it, if I'm talking normally, to be at the middle point, it to just be fluctuating a bit. But if I scream, if I scream, what will happen? It will jump up. So that tiny part, especially female when they sing and you hear some high pitch. Okay. So from where I stopped, so I was talking about the mid, high, low, and the rest. Okay, so let me explain them since we have the whole diagram now. Okay, now I was explaining that when you look at this high pitch here, for example, when a woman screams, you hear some tiny voice that is due to the high. You understand? So let's say the person, a man is singing or talking, for example. Let's say a minister is on board and is talking, and the voice is just so deep, you cannot really, you understand? You have to just play with some of the settings. Now, let me explain it. Now, from your EQ, now towards this side is low. What I mean low, this if I'm talking this way, hello everyone, good morning. You see that this stuff will move downward. That is the low part. That means bass. Because on top on your mixer, you will not see anything like bass on it. What you see is low. Okay. So when we talk about low, low simply means bass. Okay. And also this mid means the middle part of your voice. So let's say the person voice is too tiny. You want to make it at least sound fine. Just play with your mid and low. So you can have some bass and set the mid level so that it will sound more better. Okay. Why this high is for the high pitch. So let's say the person voice is too thick and you want to make it light. That means you play with this high and your mid. Okay. So high simply means the high range, while the middle range, and this is the low part, which is your bass. Now, when we talk about our auxiliary, okay. Now we have auxiliary. What auxiliary simply does is this: on every mixer, let's say a very small mixer like the one I have here, let's say is a very standard mixer. What you definitely see is that it will have it will definitely have right and left, no matter the size of that speaker, sorry, mixer. They will always have right, left. Okay. But for complicated mixer, you can do a lot of separation because one thing about sound engineering is this: the more you can separate, the more good your sound. Because, for example, now let's say I have five amplifier, um, I have one mixer, I have like 10 or 20 speakers. I cannot just put everything to my right and left. I want to definitely separate everybody. Okay, instrumentalists, this is what the on-site should sound like. The one facing the audience should sound very clean. Instruments should be minimum there. But at the instrumentalist side, they definitely want to hear their side. At the vocalist side, those guys want to hear their side, not that instruments should overshadow them. But the one facing the congregation or the audience, the sound should be balanced. You understand? So for you to be able to do that, that is where some of these functions come to in. So the first one here is auxiliary one and auxiliary two. So that what auxiliary one and two does is to give you ability to separate what is going on through that side. For example, like this, my amplifier now, I said it has two sides. Okay. Now let's say we have two amplifier. We have two amplifier right now. Okay. I told you that each one of them have two sides. Okay. Now on my mixer, I have right and left. So if my right and left, let's say this is what the right, this is right, this is left. If right is coming, the cord will enter, it will enter the input one, Abby. Then the left side will come too. It will come and it will enter the input two. You understand? So this amplifier is exhausted. So, for example, if I'm connecting two speaker or four speaker to it, then that side is set to. So let's say that is the one facing the audience or the backup monitor. That one is set to. Then let's say I want to set another type of for the instrumentalist side. I need another thing because I don't want to double this my right and left and still send to this place. So I will definitely have to pick from another source, which will definitely be my auxiliary. You understand? So that is where auxiliary comes in. It gives you more ability to be able to tap some. By the time we do the practical aspect, you really get it. But I just want you to understand the way they work so that you will not cram the way I'm doing it. That I'm like plug the wire here. If you cram it, you may have issue. Because a lot of products they have what their own interface. So just understand the way it really works. Once you understand it, irrespective of any type of gadget you come across, you can definitely operate them. Okay. So auxiliary give you room to separate the sound instead of loading everything on your right and left. So you can definitely, for example, let's say microphone is sounding off. For example, your drum kick. Let's say you don't want it to go to this side. Maybe it's the feedback, is the stage monitor. You don't want maybe your kick there, but you want it at this side. Then you can control it from your auxiliary. Let's say our auxiliary is controlling, or let's say our right and left carry the kick, then on our auxiliary we'll have to turn it down so that it will not enter that side. So you get it in the practical aspect. Then this send, in case you want to send to some section, also it works like this also. Then we have a reverb. Now reverb, when we talk about reverb, is like some side of effect on mixer. A lot of mixer have a lot of effect on them. Okay, why some have the function of reverb, some may have. Okay, so from where I stopped the last time, I was talking about delay. Now, when we talk about delay, delay is like the number of time a particular sound repeats itself. Okay, so sometimes they can be very useful on your audio amplifier audio mixer. Okay, so there are effects, so to say. So your reverb, your delay, your echo, some mixer will give you some of those effects, while some complicated mixer will even have some function like this, where it will give you like almost 20 to like 30 something preset of effects that you can toy around and play with. I will definitely show you a lot of them. Okay, so we have ear effects, it also deal with effects. Then we have pan. And when we talk about pan has to do with your selection of the direction you want the sound to really flow through. What do I mean by that? Now let's look at this, my small mixer that we illustrate here, which has just right and left, for example. Forget about the auxiliary part now. Your pan and left, what it simply does is to control your right and left. So if this is my pan, now if this is my pan now, for example, it's usually yellow in color. Okay, now you see this direction will be, let's say this direction is right, this direction will be left, because this is my left side, this is my right side. Now this middle will be zero. Now what it simply means is this: if you set your pan towards the middle, that is, for example, let's say I'm playing a sound through this particular channel, then this my pan, I put it at the middle. What it simply means is the percentage of what is going through right and left should be the same. What I mean is that, let's say our volume of song is 100% now. So what I'm trying to say is both my right and left, they should share it 50-50. You understand? But if my pan is towards this side, what I'm trying to say is my right side should gain more, while this left side should lose more. You understand? So if I'm going towards this direction, this side will be louder. And also, if I turn it completely to the right side, what will happen is that the sound will be playing at the right side, it will not play at the left side. A lot of you guys see those functions, but some don't understand it. It's very simple. Okay, so it's very useful for at times. So, for example, let's say we are using a particular microphone. We don't want it to sound at the right side. Maybe there is, let's say our right carries the instrumentalist. Let's say we have a very minimal gadget. Let's say just one amplifier and one audio mixer. So we have just right and left. This one is for the front side. Let's say it's carrying the instrumentalist, and the other one is carrying the vocalist. You understand? By default, instrumentalist likes high volume, and you don't want everything to overshadow the vocal. So what you are going to do is, on the pan, you twist it to the for the instrumental, you twist it to their own side. While you, for example, let's say this right side is the one carrying the instrumentalist. On the instrumentalist input, what you do is you twist it towards their own side, so that it will not be too loud at the vocalist side. Everything will be well regulated. You understand? And for the vocalist side, you will do the same, or you put it at middle based on the way you want it. Okay, so that is what the way pan work. And this is the right and left side which I'm talking about when you tap your output. Remember, any output from, okay, let me explain it. Now, on your mixer, you have the input and we have the output. Now, the input is based on the source of what is coming through. Is it that you have, for example, your guitar, if you plug your guitar in, is a form of input device. Okay, your guitar, your keyboard, your microphones, audio player, anything you plug through this mixer through the front part here is input. Okay, why the one going out towards this side, they are output. Okay, I will show you a lot of mixer, you'll get used to them. Okay, I will show you box sound, I will show you Yamaha Pro Dot and so many other things. In fact, I have M audio mixer, a big one. I will show you, you see some of them. Okay, some you see a lot of function at the back side. Just understand the input is for instrument that is coming in, while the output of your mixer will definitely be going to the input of your amplifier. You get to understand that. Don't cram me, please. Okay, so that is just the right and the left side. Then this is the input. The input will mean is for the instrument, and the output, which is going to the amplifier. Okay, we have auxiliary output. In case you don't want to use your right and left, you can tap your output from your auxiliary. Also, we have the send, we have the auxiliary in. So that is just a schematic and a very simple illustration and explanation of what an audio amplifier simply does. Okay, so by the time we start the practical side class, you will really see that it's very, very simple. Okay.